interesting to me is that War didn't sell off that much and is in fact up since that and has outperformed all the other national security ETFs that are out there. And I think the reason for that is because A is smart beta 2.0 of how it looks for where there's strongest momentum in revenue and earnings and cash flow.
All right, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Frank Holmes. He is the CEO of US Global Investors. And Frank, it's great to see you again. How are you?
I'm outstanding.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I want to talk to you a little bit about the War ETF. And let's remind everyone a little bit about this one. You launched it back in December of 2024, right?
Correct. And it had to deal with the big rearmament that's taking place, particularly using AI.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about how AI is so key in what we're seeing on the military side of things these
Well,
days.
two things happened. We had President Trump go on a trade war, and Valentine's Day basically was going after Canada and Mexico. And then on April the 2nd, a day after April Fool's Day, he basically called a Liberation Day and went after everybody. And then he quickly changed and it came back to 90 days. And so we saw retrieves, etc. But the market sold off. The market really sold off with that. But it's interesting to me is that War didn't sell off that much and is in fact up since that and has outperformed all the other national security ETFs that are out there. And I think the reason for that is because A is smart beta 2.0 of how it looks for where there's strongest momentum in revenue and earnings and cash flow. And companies like Qualcomm and General Dynamics have been really quite resilient. And reason for that, Steve, is that President Trump was into shame game, and he was shaming everyone in Europe. That all of a sudden NATO and Europe have created their own their own idea of their own military, and they've increased their spending substantially. And that's what he was basically shaming them on, that they've been delinquent, is the words he said. He also said that they were freeloading and they weren't protecting their own countries, and they couldn't rely on American taxpayers to keep, they had to hold their fair share. Well, at first it was, that's terrible of you, etc. But actually it's shown up that there's huge spending now. It's actually grown. Even with Elon Musk, Doge going after the military, trying to streamline everything, military spending to rebuild the military in Europe and in America is on full tilt. Now it's estimated to be almost $3 trillion.
Yeah, I would also think that we saw some just shortly after the launch of the ETF, which is WAR is the ticker on the NYSE, and the fact that we've seen tensions obviously in Ukraine, tensions in Israel. Now we have Pakistan and India. It seems the geopolitical risks around the world continue to rear themselves forward, and then solving those things can be a big challenge.
It is, and if you look at the strategy of what was taking place, we went after on April the 2nd, everyone, and then quickly pull back and give everyone a reprieve except for China. And really, this is a battle between the US and China. China had two major hacks, and the government just shrugged their shoulders, called the Volt Typhoon. The other one was called the Salt Typhoon, that infiltrated all of the power systems in America, and then it was all the telecom. So the America's cybersecurity spending is escalating. In addition to all the weaponry that they gave Ukraine was predominantly older military equipment, and now they're rebuilding all of their military equipment with the latest NVIDIA chips.
Yeah. Are you suggesting, Frank, that with the tensions that are in Europe right now and things that are happening there, all that spending's increased, the trickle-down effect is amazing to see how it affects things here in North America. And Canada's increased their spending as well on the military. It seems like all that trickle-down effect is really starting to show in the markets.
It is. Someone had to rattle the cage, and the gorilla did it. And it's unfortunate, but it's what it took to wake up a lot of people in Europe that is quite serious regarding where they're spending their money. You can create jobs with national security, and you have to start thinking to protect yourself, because China has built these icebreakers, more icebreakers than Canada owns, or say that they own the Arctic. and they tried to go buy a military base, an old one the U.S. built during World War II in Greenland. That was stopped. And since Xi Jinping became the dictator for life, another Mao in his power position, he has increased his military spending substantially and his navy around the world. So I think that we need to have what America did with Ronald Reagan was outspend the Russians. Star Wars was about outspending them with technology, and that ended up leading to where the Berlin Wall fell. And I think that what we're seeing now is a huge military spending and it'll have positive come back to healthcare. It'll come back to where technology be for soldiers. It'll be for cybersecurity, et cetera. So there'll be many benefits to society, but we have to protect our borders.
Yeah. And lastly, Frank, global military spending, 2.7 trillion in 2024, which is a new record. Do you think they could get past a number like that, or do you think that's a cap in 2024?
Oh no, I think it's going through 3 trillion.
Okay.
I think it's real, and I think the AI boom, and we're also seeing, Steve, in data centers. So data centers are part of the war's composition, because to have mobile phones to function with AI, you need great data centers. You need high performance computing data centers, and so that's where on my journey with creating Hive, and we're in HPC in Canada, in Montreal, you can see the big boom. And now we're seeing huge allocation of capital for data centers in Europe. And we're also seeing in Canada, under the new leadership, is a big spend for AI and data centers.
Exciting times ahead for sure, Frank. I really appreciate your time as well. Thanks very much for giving us an update.
Thank you.
All right, Frank Holmes, the CEO of US Global Investors.